welcome to Out of the Box Radio with me, your host, Christine Blasdale. Out of the Box Radio is a weekly podcast of audible ear candy dedicated to bringing a fresh perspective on this thing that we call life. And each and every week, we're going to be diving into the topics that matter most with lively conversations on issues such as health, wellness, and transformational healing, all with the goal of creating a better world and becoming a happier human being. I will be your tour guide for this epic adventure, and each and every week we're going to be embarking on a journey with the ultimate goal being transformation to our highest potential. And now, let's get out of the box. Hello everyone, welcome to Out of the Box Radio. I am your host, Christine Blasdale, and I'm so very happy that you tuned in today because we're going to have a very special program on healing. And most importantly, how you can help heal other people. But for me, one of the most important things is about self-healing. And I have a very special guest with me today, Barbara E. Savin, who is a master healer, a certified Reiki healer, a clinical hypnotherapist for many, many years. She has a thriving practice at the California Health and Longevity Institute, located at the Four Seasons in Westlake Village. And her new book, it's called Gentle Energy Touch, The Beginner's Guide to Hands-On Healing. We're going to get into a little bit about the book and some ways that we can work on healing ourselves. And we have a very, very special offer that I think a lot of people who are listening are going to want to take advantage of. And so I want to welcome back to the program, Barbara Savin. Welcome back, Barbara.
Oh, thank you, Christine. How are you today?
I am really, really good. And we're going to let listeners know that you yourself are actually practicing what you preach, because I know that you had a little bit of a boo-boo recently, and you're working on some self-healing right now. How are you feeling, by the way?
I fell over, or off of rather, one of those bouncy balls in my daughter's house, and landed on my right shoulder, and I heard like a crackling sound that I knew I was in trouble at that moment. And my grandson helped get me up and went to the hospital, and the MRI showed I had a torn bicep off the joint and a torn rotary cuff. And that was Tuesday. And I've been doing some really deep meditation and using the power of my mind and, of course, my healing abilities to help my arm heal. And I've been also doing some physical therapy because, honestly, I do not want to do surgery. But, of course, if that has to be, then I will. Well, that happened Tuesday. Today is Friday. And, Christine, a miracle happened overnight. I have about 60% back motion.
What?
Yes.
60.
My husband this morning could not believe when I was able to raise my arm. I was able to put my makeup on, take a shower, put my clothes on. Can't do my hair yet, but that'll come soon. I have about between 50 and 60% range of motion back from Tuesday, and the MRI showed a lot of tear, bicep off the joint. I mean, I was in excruciating pain. And I've been doing healing on myself and using the power of my mind, sending the healing light to that arm so that it can heal. And I myself, I, of course, trust my healing, but this to me is more than just me trusting. It's truly a miracle. And I think this has happened to me because I needed to let go of certain situations, but I also needed to respect myself, take time off for myself, begin to take care of me, and of course to love me. And once you could say, came to terms with all of those things, divine intervention last night during the night. I woke up this morning and that arm is 60% back, and it amazes me, the power of the mind, truly. And I will never, say to myself, is the healing working or is it not working? No, I know without a doubt. I mean, I've always known it really works, but this time, because it was me,
Bingo.
Right? I really needed to truly trust the fact that I would heal. And Christine, it's a miracle. I have to say it's a miracle.
You know what? You had mentioned the power of the mind, and if you can, let our listeners know, because I know that when you were very young, you knew that you had these gifts, and apparently, like as you say in your book, Gentle Energy Touch, we all have these gifts, but you had a grandmother who really shared with you and let you be who you were, but you learned very early on about the power of the mind. I know now you're being reconfirmed with that, but just tell our listeners a little bit about, especially when you were younger, when you knew maybe that you were a little different. Everybody has this gift, I understand, but a little different in the fact that became aware of it.
Actually, energy healing is a gift that I knew about, as you mentioned, at an early age. Yet I really just fully explored it when my body really needed healing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And as a child, I grew up in Coney Island in Brooklyn, New York, and my grandma Jenny would always do healings on my sister and I. And we would sit quietly in a chair, and grandma would ask for God's healing energy for us. And she would begin at the top of our heads and in a slow sweeping motion, clear our energy and send it. She would either send it up to God or down to Mother Earth with love and light and healing. And many a times she would actually lay her hands on our shoulders and ask God to keep us healthy and safe. And it's funny because my sister and I, we would feel like a tingling or sometimes a heat coming from her hands, and we would always think that Grandma had magical powers. So, as a child, this was really strange to us because we had no clue what she was doing. And we would always, many a times, beg her to stop doing healing on us so that we can be sick, so that we
so you could stay home.
And that never happened, and we had perfect attendance, her and I. And I was always very much aware of that, even though we really didn't know what exactly she was doing. And then as I started getting a little older, I started realizing that all we need to do is ask for healing, and it's there for us. And I would do healing on one or two of my best friends that we would hang out with. However, I was told never tell or show anybody this because they would put us away in a crazy house, back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. But my two friends, for some reason, I think they were a little aware of it too. And the healing, everything was going great until my grandma passed away. And then I decided I didn't want to do this anymore because she died at the age of 64. And I truly, in my heart, Christine, couldn't understand why God took her at such an early age. Especially I was graduating, from high school, and she passed away just 2 weeks before my high school graduation.
Oh.
I was completely filled with grief and decided I'm not doing this anymore. So you could say it was sort of my way of, I want to say, punishing God and being so angry and upset that he took her. And I remember, my graduation came and went, and my grandma wasn't there, and it was extremely sad for me. And about 2 weeks after she passed, and it's not 2 weeks after she passed, 2 weeks after my graduation, I remember sitting in the foyer. We lived in the Marlboro Projects in Stillwell Avenue in Brooklyn, and my mom was visiting her brother at the time. And my grandma used to call me Babacita. She was from Istanbul, and she spoke fluent Spanish. So that was my little name was Babacita. And I remember sitting, at the table, still grieving her because she was my life, actually. My grandma loved me, and I loved her so dearly. And all of a sudden I hear, Babacita, Babacita. And I get up from the chair, and as I walk to the foyer, I see this incredible white, like smoke light. And as the closer I got to it, there's my grandma. And I said, Grandma, is this you? And she said, Babacita, stopping, please don't be so angry. And I heard it as if like we're speaking right now.
Wow.
And the closer I got to her, it got so cold that I actually got afraid. And then I called my mom, and of course my mother said it was my imagination and I needed to stop this because I was grieving heavily. And she felt that this was just my way of thinking grandma was still alive. And then her and I never spoke about anything paranormal or any of my healing abilities or the fact that I was able to hear and feel and see things. So we just, left it alone. And I also, even though my grandma said, Barbara, don't be so angry, I was still very much angry that the fact that she passed away at such an early age, and when my life with her was really, truly just beginning.
And throughout the years, I know that, you kind of put away the gift because, maybe it was also the connection with your grandmother. But then now the last, wow, how long have you been doing healing work? I know that for over 25 years you've been a hypnotherapist, but actually with the hands-on healing, how many years have you been working with people?
I've been working with people about 20 years now.
20 years.
Yeah, I actually, how I got back into it was my body was breaking down because I was not fulfilling my true passion and purpose in life. I started with the migraine headaches, chronic fatigue, but I think the hardest thing for me was the fact that I ended up with rheumatoid arthritis, and I remember the doctor telling me, you'll be just like your mom, crippled. And at that point, it was very harsh. And I looked at him and I remember telling him, no, I won't. And he looked at me and he said, yes, you will. And at that moment, I knew something had to change. And my niece at the time was also experiencing a lot of physical challenges. And she mentioned that she saw this flyer, saying a Reiki circle. And we had no idea what Reiki was at the time. And we decided we had nothing to lose because it did say healing. And we went, and I remember the practitioners there just singing beautiful songs of love. And when they laid their hands on us, it felt just like my grandma's, but it was different than my grandma's healing. And then I knew at that moment, Christine, I had to get back to healing. And everything then started coming back to me from my grandma. So what I did do is I ended up taking, Reiki 1 class or Reiki 2. I became a Reiki master teacher. I also took pranic healing classes. I took healing touch. I threw myself completely into metaphysics and doing healing on myself on a daily basis. And then the first thing that I really needed to get rid of was all the anger and the resentment towards God and my grandma. And then I realized that God did not take my grandma. It was her, the soul. It was her time to leave. And that when it's your time to leave, you can't do anything about that. And even though people say, oh, I hate God and this and that, and I understand this now, it was her time to leave. And so once I let that go and started loving myself and not being afraid to say that I am a healer, my migraines disappeared, my chronic fatigue completely disappeared, and then after a period of about 1.5 years, no more rheumatoid arthritis. And it's now over 25 years, and I do not have rheumatoid arthritis. And it's amazing how when you finally allow yourself to let go of those issues that are in your tissues.
In your tissues.
Issues in your tissues, you begin to heal. And my journey was actually to heal myself from those 3 situations so that I can then move forward and help others heal. And of course, eventually write, my book. And sometimes, the illness is the journey, of course, so that we may not heal from the illness, but it's important for us to understand why this has happened to us. Just like with myself falling Tuesday, I
Yeah.
kept on hearing, Christine, Barbara, you need to take some time off. You need to stop rushing. You need to begin to love and respect yourself. But did I listen? No. And so then something happened to me. But now I understand completely why this happened to me. And then I was able to now help myself clear this from my body. So, healing is on all levels. It's on, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and of course, physically. And we need to heal spiritually, and then our healing takes place on an emotional aspect, and then it goes down to mentally. And the last to heal is physically. So, again, we need to really understand what is it that caused this illness in the first place, and what it is that we truly need to let go of, and all the challenges, whether they are challenges from now or challenges from, childhood. For myself, the majority of those challenges were all from childhood.
And that's with this is just even my own personal life. I feel that's what it is that the physical body holds on to so much emotion, and it may manifest itself later in life, and yet we still need to go back and deal with those core issues from our childhood, whatever it is, if it's abandonment, abuse, neglect, not feeling safe and secure, grounded, all those things. I mean, my goodness, there's a whole range of things. It all boils down to either fear or love, right? And
Yes.
feeling fear or feeling loved. But I wanted to because I want our listeners to really understand this. And I think when we have enough people that not only understand the dynamics of it and the, even the science of it, but also really believe that they have the ability to not only heal others, but to heal themselves of physical issues, mental issues, so many different things. Once a large amount of people understand that and believe it, I think we can completely revolutionize, we can completely change the structure of, really the structure of society, and help one another. But most importantly, helping ourselves, I think, is the key to that, and loving ourselves. So do you mind just letting our listeners know about some basic things that they can even maybe try themselves, some little easy steps or easy classes, so to speak, that they can begin right away? I love your shower thing too. I love that you had told me before about when you're in the shower every morning, what you do. I think that's a really wonderful way to cleanse not only the body, but also the spirit, and to accept healing as well. But can you give our listeners just like a little bit of idea of how they can
Well,
begin
I'll
that?
mention about the shower one, because the shower one is a great one. We wake up in the morning, Christine, and many a times for the most part, we feel great. But by the end of the day, we're not feeling as good as we did in the morning. And many a times we pick up other energies from people, place, things. Some of those energies are wonderful, but yet some of those are very heavy, dark, and not so wonderful. And so I give this technique to all of my clients, and the sole intention is to clear your energies of anything that may have attached spiritually to you that does not serve you purpose. Because you really, you don't want other people's energies around you, especially if they're heavy and negative. So what you do, like what I do every morning, is when I'm under the shower, I visualize that shower as, now I'm using the word God with no religion associated with it. I visualize the water, coming down on me and cleansing me with God's healing light. And then I just take my hand, and in a sweeping motion downward, I clear myself. And I send whatever that may have attached to me down the drains, to Mother Earth with love and light and healing. And then when I feel lighter energetically, and believe me, you will feel lighter energetically, I then ask God to put me in a bubble of His protective light. And then I know that, all love and all the goodness comes in and goes out, but anything that is not wanted will not penetrate that bubble of light that's around me. And then, after I come out of the shower and dry myself off, I just, sit for a moment and I visualize roots coming from the soles of my feet, going all the way down into Mother Earth, so that those roots, ground me and they balance me and they center me. And then I just feel the Mother Earth energy coming back up into my body. And then I know, I trust, I feel that I am grounded, centered, and balanced for the course of my day. And a little technique like that, believe me, if they do this on a daily basis, they will feel so clear. They'll have more focus, more concentration. They won't have those heavy shoulders the way you usually do at the end of the day because you picked up other people's energies. You may not even get a headache because you cleared yourself, energetically on a daily basis.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's one thing that believe me, truly, helps them. And of course, waking up in the morning and, when I get up and my eyes open, I say, thank you, God, that my eyes are open and I have another wonderful day. So, besides clearing your energy, you want to also think positive because, we do have the ability to be able to do anything that we set our minds to do, but we need to do it in a very positive way. Because if we think negative, the subconscious mind hears that, and then the body reacts to that negative thinking. When we think positive, the subconscious mind hears that, and then the body reacts to the positive thinking. So positive thinking, doing the shower technique, grounding yourself on a daily basis is so important, and it'll keep you healthy. You'll feel more joyous. You'll feel more happy. And most importantly, you'll be within your own energy and then love yourself for who you are.
And then that's where you have such a stronger point for doing healing as well. Right. Of course.
Right. And, with my book, it explains how to call in God's healing. I mean, all we need to do, Christine, is truly just ask for healing light from God. And we need to just visualize ourselves in a bubble of protective light and then just put our hands on our body. And then you would feel the heat. You can feel the tingling. You can feel that energy moving throughout your body. And wherever you're hurting, that's where you put your hands. And it's amazing how God's light and the gift of healing is within us, and it's there all of the time. And every day since Tuesday, once I got the results of my MRI and I knew what I was dealing with, I then just kept on calling in for God's healing and putting it on my arm, with the intention that please help me to heal. But I also needed to see what it is that I needed to release, from myself on an emotional and of course, mental level. And we all have this ability. It's not meant to be hard. It is simple. And my book is very simple because my grandma kept it simple with me. And I truly now, understand that we all have that gift of healing that is truly within us.
That's what I love about the book. And folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm Christine Blosdale. This is Out of the Box Radio. And my very special guest this hour is Barbara E. Savin. The book that she's talking about, her new book, is called Gentle Energy Touch, The Beginner's Guide to Hands-On Healing. And I'm going to add, too, that something that I noticed, which had a radical self-healing moment for me, was when I knew that there was something happening on a particular part of my body where I could feel the discord, the dis-ease. And it was shortly after my father had passed from colon cancer. And of course, when that happens and you put on your medical thing that, when they ask, what did your parents, pass from or whatever, and that was there. And my doctors were very, concerned about my own health. And I just remember one time where, Barbara, I swear, I could feel something happening. And I knew that it was almost like it wanted recognition from me. And I remember specifically being in the shower, and maybe it's this connection, this wonderful connection to water, which is such a miraculous substance in itself,
Mm-hmm.
the energy that it can carry. But I remember talking to my body and saying, "Okay, I recognize that you're here. I'm not going to ignore you, but I'm going to tell you that I love you. And while I love you and you're welcome to stay, you're really not needed right now. You're really not required or needed at this moment. But
Mm-hmm.
instead of being fearful of it and letting my mind go, oh my goodness, this is going to happen and I'm going to die of this. And, you know how you do, you spiral.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. I stopped myself and I loved that manifestation of the cancer. And I said, while I love you, you're not required to be here. You're not needed at this time. And I will tell you, I would say probably even the next day, the pain that I had associated in that area had almost gone down, if not 50%, maybe more. And then it basically, after a few days, it just vanished from my body. I didn't have to go to the doctors. I didn't go and get a whole biopsy or anything. It just went away. Now, what is that? What is
Yeah,
that?
that's because you did not become a victim of it. That's the key. But it's like when I fell, yeah, I could have, oh, poor me, now my arm, this and this. No, we can't become a victim of things that happen to us. We have to stay strong and perseverance and say, I will heal from this. I can heal from this. And not fall into, oh, my bicep is all torn. Oh, what am I going to do? It'll never heal. I have to go for surgery. No, we can't do that to ourselves, because that's like somewhat a form of punishment. And again, being a victim of the situation. What happened with you, you acknowledged the fact, just like I did with my arm, that it's there, but it's not needed. It's not wanted. You need to leave.
Yeah.
You need to leave. And our mind focusing on it healing helps it to heal.
It's incredible to me, and this is scientifically proven as well. I mean, not my particular case, but miraculous healings based on people's mind. I know that they've done studies on groups of people who meditate. Phenomenal results from people who are able to meditate and focus. But the power of prayer and meditation and all of this, it's becoming more accepted in society, isn't it?
Yeah, it truly is. And I know when I sit and meditate, I have a wonderful God's prayer that I'd love to share with everyone, actually. And this is what I've been saying as I was doing healing on my arm. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. And wherever I am, God is always with me. Amen. And it encompasses the light, the protection, the presence, everything. And you really need to truly feel that prayer within your soul. And I know, as I was sitting and doing healing, that was what I asked God, to protect me and to surround me and to help me heal. And let me say, after 3 days, I'm amazed at how quickly this arm is beginning to heal. So yeah, prayer is so important. And I know with that particular prayer, I also put it on the four corners of my mattress. So this way, I know when I'm in bed and we go dreaming, that I know I'm safe. Spiritually, with that prayer. And I also have that prayer around my, some areas of my home. And besides helping us with that prayer also clears heavy or negative energies in the home. So, if anyone out there has, any heaviness in your home, handwrite that prayer and put it, within each of the rooms, and you'll see the energy will begin to clear itself. So that's another little tip, also on clearing.
I would love to, if you don't mind, because as people are listening to this right now, if you don't mind going through that prayer again, just slower in between each statement,
Okay.
so that it can. And I'm not going to say anything on my end, but just pause for a bit so that the listeners can speak that out wherever they are. If they're in their, car, or if they're at home in front of their computer, or, wherever they're listening, so that each time you say, one of a part of the prayer, then just pause for a second so that our listeners can say that. And I'm going to say it in my head. But
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Everybody ready? Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is always with me. Amen.
Oh, that's beautiful. I got full chills on that, Barbara. I got full chills.
It's a beautiful prayer. The prayer was written around 1942.
When you were saying that, while I was saying it in my head and mouthing it about myself, I got the hit. I got the hit that we can also say that prayer for others. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So a loved one.
Put the prayer everywhere, but it must be handwritten because there's power in your writing. Not, you don't want to make copies of it. It needs to be handwritten. I have, one of the prayers in my car. I put it in my bag. I gave the prayers to my grandchildren. You can put that anywhere. Again, it's the knowing and the trusting and the feeling and the truly believing that prayer, will help you on all levels.
Oh, I believe that wholeheartedly. When we're talking about self-healing, probably one of there's the physical things that we have, the people who suffer from migraines or insomnia, or a physical thing, something like if you fall and you hurt yourself, back issues. I know there's all of those things that we can work on in self-healing, and we have the ability to. But I think probably the area that is of most concern for me, or maybe the area which I find needs the healing the most, and where it affects all of my life, is the healing of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people who are walking around not with wounded bones or ligaments or joints, but wounded hearts. Can you talk to our listeners about healing our own hearts? Is that something that you think that people can at least attempt?
Well, with myself, I had to forgive. I had to let go of anger and resentment, and that was all from the heart. And also as a child, I was all the time told, shh, don't say anything about the healing because they'll put you in a crazy house. And so, I was not loving myself really for who I was. And so the heart, when your heart heals, then everything about you heals. Because the love is all creation, loving everything that's around us. So it's so important for us to be able to let go of the past. Let go of, maybe someone has hurt you. Yeah, we never forget it, but you have to let that energy go, or else it wears us down. And then eventually, instead of living your life with ease, you end up living your life with a disease. So forgiveness, acceptance, resentment, anger, it's so important to allow ourselves to heal on that level, because once we heal the heart, the body, the mind, the spirit begins to heal on an incredible level. And what I, have done for myself, and here's another tip that I give again to a lot of, many of my clients. As a child, I had a lot of things happen to me, not just my grandma dying. And so a lot of people had hurt me. And it was about maybe 10 years ago. I knew I really needed to let go of situations. And so I wrote a letter of everyone that may have hurt me. And I went to the 99-cent store and I bought about 12 helium balloons. And I went to the park and I pretended that these people that have hurt me were in front of me. And I read the letter as if they were there. And I allowed myself to forgive them, to accept them, to, let go of the resentment and everything else. And believe me, I sat in the park crying hysterically because of all the hurt. But I knew it was time now to truly let it go. And then I put the letter on the helium balloons, and I actually held it up and I said, all right, God, I'm now surrendering all of these feelings now because I truly need to heal myself and to free myself and free my heart and to love me for who I am. And I just released the balloons and watched them as they just, flew up to heaven. And it was the most, freeing feeling that I have ever felt in my life. Very empowering to know I was finally able to let go of things that did not serve me purpose. And let me tell you, when you do that, your heart truly opens and you live your life on a completely different level.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful because, you can have people say, oh, Barbara, that happened so long ago, get over it. Or, there's so much, you have such a great life now, aren't you focus in on that. But when you do suffer pain or trauma, as a child or, in relationships, whatever, it's much easier. It's easier for people to say, just let go of it when we sort of replay those stories over and over in our head. But you actually did something that was like physically, writing it out and letting God, letting the universe take that from you. That's beautiful.
Well, you have to be ready.
Yes.
Yes. You can't let other people say, oh, just do it already. You need to sit with yourself and say, it's time. I have to release this. And only you can help you, do that. You have to do the work.
Speaking of loving yourself and you being ready to do it, we're going to be talking now about something I think that a lot of people are dealing with, are struggling with, or have been struggling with. And I am so very, very excited and I can't wait till people get this information. But you have developed an incredible digital download for people who are smokers, who have been smoking. And this digital download that you offer has already helped quite a few people, I understand. You yourself have helped, has been like 1,000 people stop smoking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Incredible.
In order for someone to stop smoking, and I need really to mention this, is they need to be ready. Not that their wife or husband or someone says you need to stop smoking. You need to make the commitment to yourself and to actually realize that you've punished yourself long enough and that you actually want to live a beautifully long, healthy, happy life as a non-smoker. And I developed these 3 MP3s. The first one is to help you begin quitting smoking. The second one is for you to completely stop smoking. And the third one is to remain a non-smoker for the rest of your life. Because, again, you do have the ability to be able to do anything you set your mind to do. So it's all about them making a commitment to want to stop smoking so that they, can live a healthy life with their family, their friends, and know this is possible. And so I put together this, 3 MP3s so that they can get back into their power and know that they can do this for themselves, and do it in in their home. They can just listen to the first MP3 maybe 2-3 times during the week, and then that'll completely help them quit smoking. And many of my clients that have listened to the MP3s, they actually said they never even got to the second or the third MP3, because the first one actually has now they are non-smokers. So my words are very loving and they're very powerful, and it truly works.
This is what's amazing to me, because whatever the reasons are, and maybe you have an insight into this, what the reasons are why people begin to smoke. Maybe those reasons why they begin to smoke is peer pressure or stress, but what is it that keeps them? Is it the actual physical addiction to the nicotine or the chemicals within the cigarette, or is it something on a deeper level? Is it the I don't want to say lack of loving yourself, because that's I don't know, that seems so harsh. But what do you attribute that to, on a intuitively or psychically? What do you think that is when someone continues to smoke and they know that it's not good for them, physically, but what do you think that is?
Well, many times they feel that they don't have the willpower to do it, or that it won't happen. I myself, in my early 20s, I was a smoker, and I worked at Roosevelt Hospital in Manhattan. And back then, in the 60s, we were allowed to smoke at your desk. And one day I actually ran out of cigarettes. And I said to myself, all right, I'm going to just make believe that I'm smoking. And I realized, it's like a light bulb went on in my head. I realized that it wasn't the cigarette that was helping me relax. It was the fact that I was inhaling and exhaling. And at that moment, I knew I needed to stop smoking, because it was my breath that helped me to relax. And a lot of people feel that the cigarette helps them to relax. The cigarette relieves the stress. The cigarette helps them stop the worrying. That's not the case. It's them breathing that helps with all of that.
I was wondering if it is something too about loving your, because we can love others, we can love our husbands or wives, or, we can love our children. But when it comes to what I find, when it comes to actually loving ourselves, sometimes that's a different story.
Well, sometimes we feel we don't deserve.
Okay. Right.
We don't deserve, or sometimes it could be a form of punishment, or it could be we're not happy with ourselves, which is not loving ourselves. So there could be a lot of different emotional feelings there, where the cigarette, even though it's bad for you, even though it'll kill you and causes cancer, and that you can't breathe, and that you cough and it wastes a lot of money, you still do it, because in the back of our mind, it's something of, I really want to say it's somewhat of a form of punishment. And many people feel that they don't have that determination or the willpower or self-control to stop. But if they put their minds to it, they can stop smoking.
Well, and if they can, and this is the beautiful thing, is with the work that you've done on this digital download, it's called Kick the Habit, right? Kick the Habit. Mm-hmm. Stop smoking. And this is an incredible gift to the world, Barbara, because from my understanding, obviously there's been a lot of people who have listened to this and have quit. They haven't even had to listen to the whole 3 MP3s, but they're quitting because of that. Do you use in this MP3 series for the smoking cessation, do you use hypnosis so that you're kind of getting past those barriers, or how do you do it? How do you
I do use hypnosis, and I empower them. I tell them, you can do this for yourself, because again, you do have the ability to be able to do anything that you set your mind to do. And I put them in the power, knowing that They truly need to love and respect their body. They need to accept responsibility for their own physical condition and make a commitment to create a healthy body. And not only that, to stick with the goal so that they are physically fit, not just for their loved ones, but for themselves.
Yes.
And it's like giving yourself a gift, a gift of health, a gift of life. When you're healthy, that's one of the best gifts that you can ever have for yourself, because then you can do anything. So, health is, in my eyes, wealth. I'm wealthy when I am really healthy, because then I can do anything, because I have the ability to be able to do it, because I am healthy, in body, mind, and spirit. And so it's all about putting them back, I want to say, into their power, knowing that they can do this for themselves, but most importantly, to stop punishing themselves and to take control and accept responsibility for their actions.
I love that it's about loving yourself and gifting yourself, giving a gift to yourself. And when you do that, what I found is that when you give the gift of health to yourself, you're giving it's like it ripples, because then you're giving a gift of you to your family. You're going to be around longer. You're going to give the gift of you to society at large. If whatever it is that you do as your career, you're going to be around longer and happier and healthier. So it's just a phenomenal digital download. It's the Kick the Habit, Stop Smoking, the 3 MP3 set. And we have from my understanding, you have a very, very special offer for our listeners today.
Yes, I do. Originally, it's $49.95, but if they go to my website, motivateyourlife.net/Christine, we're offering it all three, MP3s for $34.95.
Beautiful. Oh,
free affirmations for them, PDF that I put together, a whole bunch of affirmations for, quitting and remaining smoke-free.
So in addition to the actual the MP3s that they will be able to download and listen to, and they can probably also burn it onto a CD if they wish, then also there's a PDF that will come with it, like a free add-on. Is that what it is?
Yes, it's a free add-on. I put together, I want to say probably maybe close to 100 affirmations, because, affirmations are statements of acceptance that you actually use to manifest your destiny. So, you want to stop smoking, you need to also tell yourself, I am a non-smoker, and I am very proud of myself, and my body is now healing. So, I put together a whole bunch of different positive statements that they can repeat to themselves during this time of them becoming a non-smoker.
Let's talk about the success rate of this program, of the Kick the Habit program. You had mentioned to me a little while ago, was it your brother-in-law?
Yes, my brother-in-law.
Yeah, tell the listeners about your brother-in-law. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful.
He smoked for, I want to say, anywhere from 30 to 40 years. And he always tells me, you're crazy. He always calls me crazy. And that's fine, because he doesn't believe in the healing, aspects. I really wish, well, actually he does now. But
yeah, he does now. Definitely.
He does. So I gave him the CDs to listen to when I visited, Florida. And he listened to the first one, and he was amazed that he actually stopped smoking. And he could not believe that after all these years, he stopped. And all it was getting him back into his own power and knowing that he can do this for himself. And it's now quite many years, and he's been a non-smoker for many years. And every now and then, he does need to listen to it, because that urge may come back. And he says to me, when he puts one of them on, all of a sudden the urge is completely gone.
Wow.
So many of my clients have been smokers for a long time. And once they listen to this, but again, he wanted to stop smoking. It's not that my sister was telling him, you need to stop smoking. He finally came to terms with himself that I need to do this for me. So, because if you're going to do it for someone else, it won't work, honestly. You need to be the one to say, it's time for me to stop this, dysfunctional habit, you could say. And it amazes me that, well, actually, it doesn't amaze me. I know it works. But I was amazed with him that it worked so quickly with him, because he believed, but he didn't believe. And he stopped smoking after all those years.
After like almost 30
to 40 years, I think. Well,
so
let's see,
let's say 35 years, a 35-year smoker.
He's in his 60s, and he's been smoking. Actually, it's probably longer than that, because he started smoking when he was in the service, and that was I think the age of 18 or 19. So
that's huge. First of all, you have a male. Okay.
Yeah.
Second of all, an older gentleman. So very much set in their ways. I mean, I'm set in my ways in a lot of things too. But very much set in their ways, from a different generation that maybe would not normally accept this as being something that's a viable way of stopping smoking or healing oneself, right? Or gifting this, and he didn't even have to listen to the entire 3 MP3s. He just listened to the first one. And after 35 years of smoking, he's a non-smoker.
He's a non-smoker.
And
so many of my clients are non-smokers, and they remain non-smokers. So that's the most important thing, is that to remain a non-smoker. Excuse me. Because, again, everyone I help, they need to know that they need to do this for themselves. I can be, I can jumpstart them and help them, but they're the ones that need to take control of the situation and the addiction.
And they need to listen to it. And I'm just, like I said, I am so excited about this, because I think with this program, right now on Out of the Box Radio, I think that we can help a lot of people. And that's what my whole goal is with Out of the Box Radio. And Barbara, with the work that you do and my work that I do, it's all about allowing people to, first of all, find out and discover how amazing they are. And number 2, to transform their life and to do something good for the world. And what you've done with this is so huge. And I want to let listeners know that if you're tired of being a smoker, if you're done with it, or if you want to be done with it, please take advantage of this very special offer that Barbara Savin is offering you. Again, Barbara has been a certified hypnotherapist for well over 25 years. She has something that has helped so many people quit smoking. Her own brother-in-law, who was a 35-year smoker himself, and doesn't believe in not much of a believer in perhaps the whole healing thing, but he today is a non-smoker because of this. And she has this offer for you. It is Kick the Habit, Stop Smoking. You can listen to this on an MP3 player. It's a digital download. You can burn it out onto a CD if you want. This is a great gift for you. This will make a beautiful gift for someone that you love, who is ready. You're not going to be able to bug them and harass them and argue with them to quit. They need to be ready, and this is a wonderful gift. It is normally $49.95, which is, my goodness, that's incredible. Normally, it's $49.95, but for Out of the Box Radio listeners, for $34.95, for less than $35, you're going to get this incredible digital download, the Stop Smoking digital download. And this is where you need to go to get it. You go to motivateyourlife.net/Christine. Again, motivateyourlife.net/Christine. And Barbara, like I said, I hope that lots and lots of people go to that website and take advantage of your offer. In addition to the digital download of the hypnosis to help people stop smoking, you also have the PDF, the Affirmations, that will also help with that process as well. You're helping so many people. See, even if you're injured, you can still help people through the work that you do online.
Well, hopefully I'll be back to work in about 2 weeks, I hope.
I know you. Nothing is going to hold you down, and you're going to heal. You're going to heal so fast because of the power of us, obviously your own healing powers, but there's such great love in your heart. You do everything from your heart, Barbara, and that's why I love and adore you. Every single thing that I've ever witnessed you do, it comes from such a beautiful place. And so I think that those gifts just keep coming back at you. And I'm so happy to know you and have you back on Out of the Box Radio. So happy. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm truly honored, believe me.
So we'll give out this information again. If you're interested in quitting smoking, or if you would like to gift this to someone who you know is ready, you want to go to motivateyourlife.net/Christine. Again, this program is $49.95, which was a deal already. But for Out of the Box Radio listeners only, right now it's $34.95, and it's all available at motivateyourlife.net/Christine. And I'll make sure on the archive of the show we'll put that web link up as well. You are such an amazing person. I love you, Barbara Savin.
Well, I love you too, Christine.
And any last words that you'd like to give our listeners before we head out for today's show?
Just to love yourself for who you are. Mm-hmm. And don't let anyone else's words bring you down. That's probably the most important thing that I can tell everyone. Because it's their words that may be negative, it's not yours. So, any time anyone says negative to me, I just allow myself to let it go, because it's not my words. And I say to myself, Barbara, I love you because you're you. And, my mantra for myself is I am free to be me, and so I shall be. And that's probably the best thing that I can, offer to many of your listeners. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Love yourself.
And love yourself even when you're a little shit.
Yes.
Especially when you're a little shit. Especially when
you have to love yourself a little more.
Exactly. Oh, thank you so very much, Barbara E. Savin. If you want it, please, folks, get her book. You can go to Amazon if you're interested. It's called Gentle Energy Touch, The Beginner's Guide to Hands-On Healing by Barbara E. Savin. And if you want to take advantage of the Stop Smoking MP3, it's a digital download. You'll have access to it immediately. Go to motivateyourlife.net/Christine. That's with a CH. Again, you're going to get a special exclusive offer, just $34.95. So run, get going to motivateyourlife.net/Christine. All right, love. Thank you so much again. And fast healing for you, my friend. Fast healing for you.
Thank you. Love you.
I love you. All right, everyone. That's the show for today. Please do remember to join us next week for another episode of Out of the Box Radio. I've been your host, Christine Blosdale. Have a beautiful day. And don't forget, always think outside of the box.